So, you're a single now and no longer a couple. How has your life changed? You can't just stay in your house and quit living. You somehow have to deal with this. But even if you are not widowed or divorced or single yet, statistically for a woman, it could happen to you. And we all know that. We all think about it. I'm a planner, though. And I always think about, well, what will I do? And how will my life change? One way your life most certainly will change. I shouldn't say most certainly, but from what I've seen. Now, I actually wasn't a widow. I'm adjusting this a little bit. I wasn't a widow long enough. You have to read the rest of my story. I was only widowed for 6 months, and I was married, which is worked out just fine, believe it or not. But that period of time, I found, you think you're gonna, your married friends. No, it's nothing to do with them. You won't want to really be with your married friends. I mean, visit them, yes, and stuff, but you won't really want to be hanging around with them, because it's like with you and your husband, if you go on, say, for the day and go out of town somewhere and go out for dinner and go to a few little stores and shop around, spending the day like that. Now, picture it now. You're sitting in the back seat. They may take you one time, maybe two. But you don't want to do that to them. You don't want to push in on their life and run their life. And they're grieving too over you losing your husband or your wife. They're upset about it too. And you being alone, they're feeling bad for you. They're missing him or her. How can it possibly be fun? I'm not saying it can never work, and let me know if it has worked. That'd be wonderful if it does. But it's different, just totally different. What about children? They have their own lives. Yes, I mean, they may certainly want you to be a part of their life, but they can't entertain you and be taking care of you all the time, coming over all the time. They're young, and you don't want to mess up their lives or make them feel guilty. Please don't ever make your children or grandchildren feel guilty. If they want to see you and they come on their own, that's wonderful. But what you can do is, there's one thing about being older and grandma stuff. We know how to cook. So many of the young people do not know how to cook. So you can invite them over for a meal, and they would love that. Or if you go visit them and take them a meal or something like that. That works really good. But you just don't want to change somebody else's life to fit around yours. And don't, even if you are sad, don't be acting sad around them all the time, because they're already going through grief. There's going to be times you're going to talk with them, though, and you're going to be crying, looking at old photos and crying and during this grieving period. But then there comes a time that maybe they're trying to get over, and when they see you and they see you're sad and grieving, they don't want to be around it. A lot of people don't want to be around it. Not that they're bad people, but it's just survival for them. So, to be honest, if you have some friends who are single, keep them in your lives. Keep in contact with them. And here's the thing, as we get older, so many husbands will, usually it's the husbands that will pass first. Keep in contact with those women. Because you guys can get together, have meals together. You can go on little trips together. It's not going to be like it was with your husband. And I think what we miss so much is the husband driving and taking care of you. But only the strong survive, ladies. If we just sit at home and wait for our friends, our family to come over and make us happy again, nah, we can't do that. And we are stronger than you believe. You can do more than what you thought. So, but what can I say about this? Like I say, I was only, well, I shouldn't say that because my husband had Alzheimer's for probably around 3 years. And so I gradually was like doing everything on my own and more because you're taking care of them. But my biggest point, though, really on everything is you need to build a good relationship with the Lord because He promises to be a husband to you when your husband's gone. He promises that. And He loves the widows, and He promises to be close to the brokenhearted. And it's not going to bother Him. He's going to love being close to you. Unlike people who might get tired of hearing it. He's never tired of it. So you can talk to Him about it. Yeah. So I would say that is the most important thing. That you stay close to the Lord. Try to attend church. Get involved with, there might be widows in a church, but you don't want to get into a group if you find out that all they're doing is crying and never getting over it. There is that mourning period and you need it, and it's going to hit you off and on, but you got to move on. You got to move on. That's all there is to it. But share with me what's happened to you if you've already went through this process and you're widowed. Did you keep all your married friends and do you see them all the time? The ones who, they still have their husbands. What happened with that relationship? Now, sometimes that can work if there's more than one widow in the group. And that way, when they invite you over, they can invite a couple of you over. It's like a couple. How did it change your life? Did it destroy your life? Did you just quit living? Or have some of the married couples just included you right in and it worked? And how did it work? What do you do about like a little vacation or spending the day and going out and doing things, or for dinner parties, or going to a Christmas program or a concert or a play or something? Do you still do that with the couples? I wasn't by myself long enough to really even know, in a way. I do remember, I don't know, it's about Sundays. Sunday was my big thing because we didn't go anywhere much. But on Sunday, we would go out to eat with some other couples. And that was just the big week, day of the week for me. I just love Sunday for that. Well, after we had COVID, of course, and that kind of messed everybody up. So we weren't doing that so much. But once the COVID kind of lifted and he had passed away and the funeral was over and I decided to try to go back to church. Well, the first Sunday, people would ask you out for breakfast with them. It felt awkward, but it was nice to go out with someone. It didn't take long. They're going to ask you out one time, and then that's going to be it. And face it, some women feel uncomfortable with you being there around their husband. It happens. So I remember the first Sunday that there was just like, I didn't really even know. See, that's the thing too. I really didn't know any single women in the church. And I sure didn't want to be pushing in on other couples who actually had families too, children and grandchildren. They were all going out. I didn't want to push in on that. So I remember Sunday morning getting all dressed up for church and going there, and then church is over, and then you just get, I think one Sunday they were selling meals at the church, little meals for some missionaries raising money. And I remember buying that one Sunday and going home and eating. But I can remember like the first Sunday I went home by myself, and I'm not going to go to a restaurant by myself. I've never done that. And I went home and fried an egg. Oh, there was nobody to talk to about the service. There was nothing, just that stupid lonely house. At least I had a dog. So I eventually ended up, there was nobody that I knew it's not that I wanted to get remarried. I just wanted somebody to just go to dinner with or go to church with, go out to breakfast after, just that type of thing. Excuse me. But so I did go on the dating site, and you have to go through a few undesirables, not undesirables. So there's a lot of lonely men out there, but I did find somebody, and that's another story. It was a really wild story. But I met someone, moved from Indiana to Tennessee. He's a year older than me. He lost his wife, I lost my husband. It's worked out really good. We're very much alike. He's a Christian. He goes to church. We have someone to go out for breakfast. Sometimes we go with other couples, but many times alone. But even if we come home, I'm not alone. I can cook breakfast for him. But let me know. I just really want to know, what did you do with your life after that, after losing your husband or your wife? So, and I know there's a lady here in Tennessee who was in our small groups. We have small groups, and if you're not familiar with it, if you go to a big church, they have you into small groups, places, people who are close to your home, and then you get together at different homes. I think like twice a month, something like that. And we all brought a little bit of food or something and ate together and fellowshipped. And one of the ladies there, and in fact, I mentioned in my last video where they were on those electric bicycles, and he had a terrible, I think the brakes locked up, and he was on the golf course went head over heels, and I think it was maybe a week or two later, he died from his injuries. But she no longer comes to our small group, not even once. And I don't blame her one bit. So I think they have small groups for singles. And I think that's what she goes to now. And I think she's doing well from what I've heard. So that, I mean, we don't want changes in life. And the older we get, the less changes we want. But there's only one guarantee in life. It's going to change. Everything changes. And you either roll with it or you get rolled over. It's going to kill you. Yeah. But, you know, we're not alone. We just got to remember that. I am never alone. I have the Lord with me all the time. And He's got good plans for my life and for your life. But we can't be fearful or stubborn. And I've said this before. When you get to heaven, your husband or your wife is not going to give you this big award and say, oh, I'm so glad that you grieved for me that long. That's wonderful. I'm glad you didn't go on with your life. I'm glad you just sit in the house and grieved. That really proves how much you love me. That was wonderful. I am so proud of you. If they loved you, and they do not want that for you. They're not even going to bring it up what you did. They're not really aware of it. They're happy. They're in total peace. And there's not going to be any marriage or giving in marriage in heaven. I don't know how that's going to work. But He has good plans, and it's going to all be good. So if you're widowed, don't feel guilty. Just go on with your life. If you don't want to get married, even if you don't even want another man in your life, even as a boyfriend or a friend, make sure you get some good women friend that you enjoy being around. Somebody who is not stuck in grief, because it's just going to bring you both down. So that's my advice. But you tell me, because here I'm married again. I'm 82. He's 83. We don't know which one of us is going to go first. But I sure don't want him sitting around. I know at his age he probably will never marry again. And I probably never will either. But I want him to be happy. I mean, if he finds a lady friend to do things with, I think it's wonderful. I'm not going to be here. I don't care. You know, it's lonely down here. I wouldn't want him to be lonely. So, all right, I guess I'll wind it up at that because I'm at past 15 minutes. But I just pray God gives you peace and joy. Why not? And put a smile on your face, even if when you go home you cry, but put that smile on your face. And people love that. And it draws them in, and it helps them, and they want to be around you. And if you go out with a gentleman or with a lady friend, don't keep talking. Even if you had a wonderful marriage, don't keep talking about the past and about them, because that just hurts. That's hurtful and embarrassing to them. Just enjoy the moment with the person you're with. Just enjoy that. Okay, so I'll be waiting for your comments. I want to hear exactly where you're at. Are you a new widow? Are you newly divorced? Are you just a single, have been single? Have you tried having a male friend or new girlfriends? Have you traveled with them? How has all this worked out for you? I really want to know, because it could happen to me again someday. And this time I'm not planning on getting remarried. No, I'm gonna, I mean, God willing, I mean, I can't make plans, that many plans for my life. I don't know what'll happen, but I don't plan on ever marrying again. I love the man I'm with, but I don't know how I could get anybody any better than him. So I'm waiting to hear, guys. Okay, I'll make sure you not only comment, but you like and subscribe. So many of you have been watching me for a long time, and I don't think you subscribed. Maybe you don't even know it. And you never, ever will be charged, ever, nor will anybody be bugging you with anything. But it helps me and it helps others that I can share this message with. Okay, guys, bye-bye.